Hello again, everybody. John here with Knight Shining Armor Paint Correction, Ceramic Coatings, and Detailing. Today we're replacing the Cue system or Cue Infotainment Screen in a 2016 Cadillac ATS. This process won't take but a half hour to 35 minutes. This is only one of a couple videos of these replacement screens that we've done. So we thought we'd take you along for the ride. The view isn't the greatest, but you're going to pull up on the sides of the trim that are attached to the console to expose the two 7mm bolts that I am about to take out. This allows you to get the inner workings of the console, cup holders, etc. pulled up and slid back. We're also going to lift up on this top piece here. Everything's just in with clips. It all comes apart very easily. Might take a little bit of force, but it's fairly simple. You also have to put the car in drive or low in order to be able to slide the console or cup holder filler assembly or whatever that's exactly called out of the way, because there are two 7mm bolts additionally hidden behind the two that I took out to get this cup holder filler unit in the console slid back, and then there are two more 7mm bolts up on top, and this whole system comes out fairly easy. It may feel like you're going to break something. Just be careful, take your time, and eventually you will get it, because this part is a little bit of a bear. I'm going to go ahead and take out these bottom 7mm bolts, screws, whatever you want to call them. Knock out the two on top, and we'll get the unit out of the dash so we can start unhooking all the connections. Able to drop ship these units anywhere in the continental United States. We just need to know three things. Does it have heated seats, heated and cooled seats, wireless charging, actually it's a couple more things, and with or without rear entertainment. Now that I've got the unit up, I'm going to start unplugging the connections here. Some of them you can remove with just your hands, but I highly recommend a pick tool, as I forgot to stick one in the vehicle with me, and I have to jump out and go to my toolbox here in a second and go grab one. After struggling with this one connection here, I finally said, okay, to hell with it. I'm just going to go grab a pick and get this thing out. Because unless you have very tiny, tiny fingers, sometimes you are not able to push down or lift up whatever you need to do. In this case, it was the USB port, excuse me. Once I get back in the vehicle here, this thing will be apart lickety-split. And then we can take the mounting brackets off, which are another 4 7mm bolts, 2 on each side. And if you have a drill or 3/8 impact that has a pressure sensitive trigger so you're not over tightening when you put it back together, this will speed up the process immensely. I tell you what, that USB port really did not want to come out. Get this thing apart here. We can start taking the mounting brackets off. And with this unit here, they didn't include the wireless charging pad. You got to be careful not to try to unbolt it from the outside. It unbolts from the inside. Doesn't take very long to change that pad, but sometimes you're at the mercy whether they send you one with a new charging pad or not. After you get the 2 bolts out of each side of the mounting bracket, they literally just slide right off. There's 1, and there's 2. Like I said, these screws that are on the outside here do not get that charging pad you can see through the plastic out of the unit. And of course, like a dummy, I forgot to open the door after I got it all unplugged, knowing that I was going to have to open that door in order to get that charging pad out. It's a kind of a bit of a process, folks. It's Friday. I want to get out of here. It just is what it is. And this old unit took a while to actually power up. I didn't think it was ever going to open. Once we get it open, take the easy connections back apart. We'll put it next to the new unit, transfer the charging pad, and then we will start installing the new unit. I apologize here, I didn't realize the camera had readjusted a little bit, and now the shop light hanging from the vehicle is a little bit in the way. So I apologize for that, but we're going to go ahead and slap this new unit in here and get this thing back off to the customer. Now that we got that wireless charging pad swapped over, we're going to go ahead and put the mounting brackets back on. There's little tabs on the side of the unit that go in corresponding holes in the bracket, and it just slides forward. And I am using a battery powered 3/8 Ingersoll Rand impact. The trigger on it is pressure sensitive, so if you barely put any pressure on it, it's almost as if you're hand tightening it, and just a skosh of more pressure while it runs very slow. If you go at it with a full trigger squeeze, you're going to be breaking plastic, I guarantee it. So for the folks out there watching the video, it's going, oh my God, he's using an impact on plastic. Relax, folks. It's not my first rodeo. Now that I got the mounting brackets on, we're going to start plugging the connections back in. Depending on your unit, you may have 3, 4, or 5 different connections. The replacement unit had 5, even though we had 4 plugs, which is not a big deal. I assumed that it was a unit made for rear entertainment, and this vehicle just doesn't have it. There's just an extra, what looked to be a micro USB input. Get the unit back in the dash. You got to put the bottom side in first and lift the console trim out of the way. Open the door, make sure it opens and closes. Now we can start assembling this back together. Go ahead and start the 7mm screws, bolts that we took out. And this thing will go back together very, very easy. You know, sometimes things tear apart very easily and they are you know what to put back together. Most of these screens, whether it's a Ford or a GM, unless you're adding nav, which in today's market, everybody wants Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And we use the GPS from our phones, whether it's Apple Maps, Google Maps, or Waze. So unless you're adding nav to your vehicle, the install process is very easy. If you have any kind of mechanical ability at all, you can change the unit yourself. Now that we got the unit back in, we're going to slide the console, trim, filler, cup holders, whatever you want to call that, back in. And just like getting it out, it can be a little bit of a trick to get back in. And if anybody out there needs an info screen, please email us at info@KnightAutoPCD.com and let us know what your vehicle is, and we'll get back to you and have a series of questions, and we can go from there. So now I got the trim cup holders back in, going to reattach those two 7mm bolts, and from there we can put the trim pieces back in on each side. So you can see just a couple love taps with your hand, and the clips go right back in place. And the problem with the original radio was it was stuck on the turn-on screen, where it asked you for a language and something else. I don't remember exactly what it said. But we're going to peel the plastic off of this thing. As it's on the radio, I'm going to be quiet because I'm going to turn it up. Hopefully you can hear it. And just like that, the screen is changed. Once again, my name is John. We are Knight in Shining Armor, paint correction, ceramic coatings, and detailing. I appreciate everybody watching our videos. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. We will catch everybody in the next video. Have a great weekend, y'all.